All right, cool. Last one for the day before I lose all my sun and before my phone battery goes dead. We're going to talk about all of the cool, independent, maybe not independent, left of the dial, alternative, some heavy, some not. But these are all the cool bands for the cool kids. And first one I want to talk about is Pretty Reckless. And I could have probably put them in the hard rock video that I'm going to make next. But they're the queen. She's the queen. She's my queen. Oh my God, she's so amazing. And I don't want to harp on it too much, but she just sang at the Soundgarden Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and it was a whole cute thing with Jim Carrey is the one that inducted them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's the first time they've been in a room together since that movie came out. When was that? Obviously 20 years ago at least. She was just a little bitty girl. Taylor Momsen is, and she just did some Christmas stuff, and she redid the Christmas song that she sings in The Grinch, and she squeezed into the same dress that she was in. Only a girl like that can do something like that. She's like lanky and tall and skinny, and oh, I love her so much. I just can't even get over it. But her new music is kick ass. She had every album she's done, I've just loved for different reasons, and it continues. Wet Leg is a band that came out a few years ago with that Shays Lounge song, and I thought this is weird and quirky, and I loved it. And it's one of those things you play for people, and they immediately either go, "What is that? That's awful," or they go, "What is that? That's kind of neat sounding." And it is very neat sounding. They're super edgy, and I listened to a bunch of songs off the new record, and it's all the same thing. It's just quirky and weird, and they do a lot of, I guess you would call it gay baiting or homo baiting. I think they're lesbians, and they like to play on stage like nearly half naked, which I have no problem with that. I mean, I'm going to sexualize them in my mind if I want to, and that's okay. The Last Dinner Party is another band I discovered, I think, last year, and their new album is just so good. Their songwriting, and they're just poignant, and it's not edgy sound wise, but I can just hear the energy and what they're doing. Those girls just believe it, and I love it. I love it so much. Other good bands that are on that same vein, the Viagra Boys. I can just love them. Idols has a new record out, and they're aggressive and weird and edgy. The Lambrini Girls, that's another one that falls in that category. Kind of a more prog rocky, I would call it maybe prog rock funk, I guess. It's like, imagine if Fish was way more prog rock. You got the psychedelic porn crumpets, and I think you're supposed to say prawn, so you get the algo speak, so you don't get shadow band, but the PP crumpets, that's what I call them. And I had friends show them to me a few years ago, and they're not my favorite, but they always make me smile whenever I listen to a song of theirs. I like it. It's not my top, but it's good. Model Actress is another band that I heard about this year. Des Rocks, I talked about in some of those new music videos that I did last summer, and they've got new music out. There's a band called South Arcade that's really good. A lot of people are comparing them to No Doubt, but I don't really think they sound anything like No Doubt. Maybe her voice a little bit, but she dresses really cool. She dresses like a tomboy skater kid, like with the big baggy pants and the little Gwen Stefani tank top or whatever, and she just looks like Gwen Stefani. She embodies that whole archetype. So I think that's why people think that. But they're all young, and they do just a combination of a little new metal in there, a little hard rock, a little funky stuff, and pop stuff, and just a band to watch. South Arcade is kick-ass. McGee, I talked about before. He's a guitar player guy that you could tell he plays as good as like the Polyphia guys, but his music is really mellow, and he sings just this, it's just heartbreaking music, and his guitar tone is something that I've never heard before, which is hard to do with somebody that has a 60-year encyclopedic knowledge of music from the last 60 years. And how he plays through an old 4-track recording machine and overdrives the channels to get that sound. And it's just like, it's kind of in your face, but it's kind of tamped down. It's kind of like compressed in a weird way. And he plays these chords and these runs in between his vocals that is just phenomenal. It's I can't talk about it enough. Another band that's way out in left field is called Khruangbin, and they've got a guitar player that plays with this strange sound of a lot of reverb, and I keep going to funk. It's kind of almost a jazz thing, but they're kind of mellow, and they got a chick that plays bass and sings, and some of their stuff's instrumental, and some of it she sings, and some of it, the vocals even are just part of like the atmosphere. It's just another instrument. They're kind of shoegazy if the guitar player wasn't so like jazzy, if that makes any sense. Moving on, there was a couple of Beatlesy, like kind of, that's the only way to put it. Everybody always calls them Beatlesy kind of bands. Beatles or Beach Boys, that kind of almost 60s influenced British Invasion sounding pop rock. And the Lemon Twigs, they put out an album last year, and I think they got a new one even. And the other one that's like that is Super Furry Animals. I've heard that name before, but I never dove into it because I never had a reason to. But it's good. It's I've over the last couple years I've found about a half a dozen bands that do that sound. Moonwalker is one of the newer ones. I've seen Moonwalker had a couple of really cool songs last year, and then a few years ago when I first discovered them. But they're kind of leaning into the TikTok thing and doing some political commentary in their vocals, in their lyrics and stuff. So that's cool to see. Dinosaur Pileup, that's another band. Such a cool name. I discovered them a few years ago, and they're kind of they're a hard rock band. I just call them hard rock. Nothing groundbreaking, but super, super good. Turnstile is one that's getting on a lot of people's top lists this year. And for right reasons. I listened to quite a few songs off this new album, and it's just this, it's the kind of new rock. I thought they were heavier. They're kind of like emo-ish, like a 2000s emo band, but they're embracing a lot of the production techniques and stuff that a lot of the newer heavy bands like Ghost and Sleep Token are using. It's the kind of band that an old head metal fan is going to hate it, but I like it. It's a good evolution of the genre, and some of the stuff I wouldn't even say it's heavy metal. It's not heavy at all. It's just that big reverb washed out like sound that a lot of those bands do. Just think of the middle sections. Woo, I do that every once in a while. From like Sleep Token or whatever. Really, really good. Castle Rat and The Haunt, I believe, were two bands that are doing Die Spitz. That's another one. It's kind of a new genre. Not a new genre, but these new bands doing it makes it new. And they're doing like this fantasy, like demons and wizards, and they have sword fights on stage, and they dress in the costumes that look like they're straight out of Conan the Barbarian, and Dio would be proud for sure. Castle Rat is the one that's getting the biggest from that little corner of hard rock. Another little corner is bands that seem to be, the best way I could put it is inspired by Marilyn Manson or Nine Inch Nails. A little more industrial EDM style. We've got Death by Romy and Slater. And I think those two bands, well, two artists, Romy and Slater, are friends. They play together a lot and they tour together a lot. Death by Romy is kind of getting big on their own terms. Slater, on the other hand, has been able to have a couple of really high profile features on some songs, so kind of staying in the mainstream eye that way, and we'll talk about that when I do the duets and features and stuff. But yeah, she's really cool. Another band that does this new style of music that I can't tell. One song I listen to and they sound heavy, and one song is real hip-hoppy, and one song is real like kind of shoegazy, and then some songs are just mixing all those things together, and they're called Bill Murray. And not Bill Murray like the actor, Bill Murray. It's Bill Murray, Bilmuri. Bill Murray. Yeah, Bill Murray. Cannons is another band that I discovered a few years ago, and I just saw they had a new song, and they do kind of more floaty, atmospheric, it's what I'm calling it, like new shoegaze stuff. It's not as guitar as shoegazy, all the washed out synths and reverb and stuff, and yeah, they're really good. Dead Sugar is another band. Karen Dio, I heard some songs last year. She's a little more punky and in your face. Horror is a band I've talked about in a couple of these videos already. They're kind of in that, I think they're kind of the gothy, Marilyn Manson-y kind of bands. They covered Nine Inch Nails' March of the Pigs, I talked about in the cover song thing. And they spell their name Horror, but all the R's are nines. So it's the way the kids are doing it these days. If you can change something funky about your name, put a letter in the wrong place, or put a V where there's an A, or an X where there's supposed to be an O, or stick some numbers in there, that's just the way, the new style, I guess, so they say. Meal and the Sniffers. I discovered him last year, maybe at the end of the year before that, and I was upset that I never talked about him in a video, and then I was excited when I saw that they have a new song out. So I can talk about them. And they're super punk. They're kind of like a new version of Wendy O. Williams or even Blondie, but like heavier than Blondie, but same attitude, sort of. Wendy O. Williams is the first thing that comes to mind, or Nina Hagen, or some of those 70s, 80s, early 80s punk chicks that just didn't take crap from nobody. Grandson is another heavy band that and I think they're kind of the same way. I think this new style, you can't really tell if it's heavy. It's got heavy elements, but Return to Dust is another one. I think I'm failing my test right now. I listened to a bunch of stuff and then thought I could make these videos and remember everything. I know I liked them because they were put on the list, but The Warning I talked about, and when I was talking about Haim, The Warning is kind of like the heavy metal version of Haim, a group of sisters. They're all still real young, and I was trying to find fault in everything that I saw about them when they first came out, because it just seems so industry planty, and they just keep winning me over. They're so good. There was a new Kitty album last year. They were the all-female nu metal band. That was their gimmick. And I think I said in a video at the time, like, bless their hearts, Kitty's cool, but there's no need for them when there's bands out there like The Warning. They're just doing it better, and they're younger, and they're better looking, and the whole package. I'm excited to see where those ladies go in the next 10 years. They're going to be so phenomenal. Sleep Theory, that's a weird one to me, because it was good. It's good, solid, hard rock stuff. But it's just unfortunate your name is Sleep Theory, because we already have a Sleep Token in the hard rock field. So, like, you're kind of just going to lose out because of your name. And speaking of that, we're just in the weirdest timeline where just nothing is real anymore. A few years ago, I found this prog rock band called Goose. And now one of the biggest bands of the year this year is a band called Geese. So at the same time in history, we have a band called Sleep Token, and a band called Sleep Theory, and a band called Goose, and a band called Geese. And we have a guy named Jack Black, and we have a guy named Jack White. And nothing makes sense anymore. All right, that was a little rant. Inhaler, I discovered last year, and they've got a new song. Frost Children is another one. It's kind of a cool name. I think they're more heavy type of stuff. The Geckos, that seemed like it was like a Latino jazz type of thing. I don't know how that got mixed up in pop rock kind of circles, but somehow it come across my radar. And just to get away from heavy drums and heavy guitars, sometimes it's just their music is really fun. Chat Pile is another one that I heard about this year. Gorilla Toss, such a cool name. Not gorilla like the animal, gorilla like the soldier, I guess. Guerrilla soldiers, guerrilla warfare, that kind of thing. GUE. And their album is called You're Weird Now. And so I had to check that out. I put them all on put the whole new album on my playlist, and I've been piecing through them, and it's kind of that jagged, fast, like disco punk is the word I like to use for it, like the old Eagles of death metal type of stuff. The first wave of bands that really kind of defied genres. But yeah, Gorilla Toss was really good. Nina Girachi is, I thought she was gonna be kind of more in the Taylor Swift style of stuff, but her stuff was a little different than that. Like I said, I can't really remember details now. Warfield was another band, and it's fun. It's got the voice. It's kind of like Nick Cave. They're kind of a gothy kind of situation. He sounds like Nick Cave, or who's the other person I'm trying to think of? I don't know. We'll go with Nick Cave. It's that deep, gothy voice. And Magdalena Bay is the last band, I guess you could say, that I wanted to talk about. And they're another one. They're kind of floaty. They're kind of poppy, kind of like the Marias or some of these other things that I've talked about. Cannons. They're real similar to that. Then the last things that I wanted to talk about was there was some guy had a real strange taste in music, and I watched his top 20, and that's where I got the Gorilla Toss was from that guy's list. And he had a band on there called Aya, AYA, and their new album was called Hexed, and it is weird, glitchy, electronic, like crazy vocals on some songs, and it's somewhere between hyper pop and D Antwoord, I guess you could say. Not so much hip hoppy, but more, like I said, glitchy, hyper pop, or even industrial metal. There's a lot of industrial stuff in there too. Oneohtrix was another EDM artist that I saw, and I only saw that because there was somebody that guested on one of his songs. I think he's pretty much a traditional EDM artist. Benefits was an ambient electronic thing that I found. That album has a lot of spoken word stuff over each song, so it's good to listen to if you're just trying to chill out a little bit. And Jrum, DJRUM. I don't know how you say it. Sorry, I'm saying your name wrong. DJ Rum. Jrum. Kind of do it like a Bjork type of thing. Jrum. That was good electronic music. I really like them. I added some of their older stuff back onto my playlist after listening to them. It's super glitchy, but not so wild. It's not so wild as Aya. It's more song. Like there's a lot more atmospheric passages and stuff along with all of the glitching and the heavy drum beats and stuff. And then the last one is Barker, and that was straight ambient music. I listened to that to meditate a little bit, and it's also a good palate cleanser when you're trying to go from one thing or listen to a whole bunch of music in one setting. That music was so good for just, and it's just by the book ambient stuff. So wow, that's almost all of the new music that I've listened to and didn't listen to that I just knew about. Because, like I said, if I learn about something, then I know about it. And if I know about it, then I have to talk about it. And if I talk about it, then you know about it. So, subscribe, and hopefully the algorithm will feed you some of my other videos. And watch them when they pop up. Please. I really need it. I need it in my soul. Okay, love you. Bye.